You've heard in the opening words of the epistle reading this morning that we're told to walk in the light. Walk in the light of Christ. Walk, behave, live, as we can see that Christ would have us. In other words, in all things, follow our Lord. Follow Christ. It can be useful to have this sort of very short, succinct instructions of how the Christian should behave. And if we ask, how should I live as a Christian? It's a good answer to say, follow Christ. Ask yourself, what would Christ do? Look towards Christ. And if you would do that, you really can't go wrong. So, let's try something here. How to walk in the light of Christ. I could suggest two possible answers to that. First of all, to walk in the law of Christ means to be obedient, to be moderate, to do what we're supposed to do, not to show any questioning, not to cause any upset or any problems, but well, someone I remember years and years ago used to say, we have to be good. We must do what we're told. And that's walking in the way of Christ. That's one way of looking at it. There's another way of looking at it. Supposing I were to tell you that Christ sometimes was a real radical, a real rebel, who would sometimes strike out. Maybe not necessarily violently, but sometimes he was pretty firm. Christ would strike out against things which people felt were so important. Christ the radical, Christ the rebel. How does that sound? Which of the two is right? Which is better? To be mild, good, gentle, and obedient, or to raise up objections to things which perhaps we've held on to too closely and been too good and too obedient about? That really would cause a lot of chaos. Okay, just keep those two possibilities in mind. Time for a history lesson. About 600 years before the birth of our Lord, the kingdom of Judah went through a rather difficult time. There was a crisis in the political situation within the nation. There were dangers and threats from external powers. There was a certain laxity in the keeping of the religious traditions. And so, a certain king of Jerusalem, a rather faithful individual, who also, by the way, had the support of the prophet Jeremiah, the king promulgated a reform. And he brought a new law into the kingdom. Not simply a new law in the sense of a new commandment, but a whole system of laws which try to lay down means whereby people could fulfill the will of God and by which they could be faithful followers of the law of Moses. It was a pretty good thing, too. There were some laws in there that I guess we could say were really quite progressive for their time. Some of the laws concerning women were a lot more reasonable and compassionate than they had been in the past. There were one of my favorite laws at that time was the law which says that you must not mistreat your donkey. I fully agree with that one because so often I've seen especially in the Middle East, I've seen the poor donkeys treated as beasts of burden and sometimes really cruelly. There are other laws to how to behave towards your children, etc., etc. And those laws, and also, of course, not to forget this, the laws which regulated prayer and fasting and how to keep the laws which pertain to things of the Spirit. It was a good Reformation and it was a good system of law. But there was a weakness. The laws laid down everything and said, this is the way you must behave. And so often as not, it can happen. When people have laws which dictate the way of the Spirit, or the way that they must behave towards God, sometimes it's so easy to follow those laws and then say, see what a good person I am. I keep the laws. Now think about that. I fast 2 days in a week. Anybody know who said that? If you don't, you're in trouble. It means you don't know your gospel. Who said I fast 2 days in a week? There's the Pharisee whom I think our Lord must have seen and heard. I fast 2 days in a week. I give tithes of all that I possess. I don't steal. I don't cheat. I'm not like that wretched tax collector. I don't like tax collectors, by the way. I had a call from Revenue Canada the other day. We had a big fight. I'm not sure who was going to win, but somebody got. I'm not like that tax collector, because the tax collector, the publican in our Lord's time, was a pretty miserable type of person, you know. He paid for his job, he paid the Roman authorities to give him the authority of collecting taxes, and he would squeeze the money out of the people. So he was a pretty miserable thing. And the Pharisee says, I'm not like that tax collector. I am righteous. I keep the law. The tax collector just prayed quietly, off to the side where he wouldn't be noticed, and said, Lord, be merciful to me, a sinner. The tax collector, what did he know of the law? Maybe he knew it. Maybe he had some familiarity with it. Maybe he kept some of it, but somehow he felt there was some. Maybe he kept it all, I don't know. But somehow he felt there was something wrong. He could say, Lord, be merciful to me, I'm a sinner. One who keeps the law, one who doesn't keep the law. Let's continue with our story. One day, a man went down from Jerusalem towards the city of Jericho. The road leading from Jerusalem to Jericho, back in those days, as it is now, went through the desert. It was lonely, and it was not the safest place to walk alone. But this man had to make the journey, and he went. And during the journey he was set upon by thieves or robbers who beat him, took his possessions, and threw him in the ditch, left him there for dead. Road back in those days, even as now, was not very well traveled. So that man lay in the side ditch on the side of the road with no one to tend him. Alone. A priest came by. A priest who was governed by certain laws, but he had to keep himself pure. He had to do, without going into all the details, he had to make sure he was fit, and ready, and right to perform his priestly duties. And if he didn't keep himself the way he should, he wouldn't be able to perform his duties. But for some reason, this priest was going down to Jericho. He passed on the road and he saw something over in the ditch. And he looked. And he saw a body lying there. He couldn't tell if it was dead or what, but he must have seen it was covered with blood. And of course, there was something which is definitely not kosher. A dead body. A person of the priestly order must not touch a dead body, because that would defile him. And even worse, he must not touch blood. And so in obedience to the law, in obedience to the ritual practices, that priest looked at the body. Maybe he felt compassion, I don't know. But whatever, he said to himself, I suppose, well, that's a dead body. I mustn't touch it, because I'll be defiled, and I won't be able to perform the sacred duties which are my responsibility. So he crossed back the road and went on his way. A little while later, there came a Levite. Now, a Levite was not exactly a priest, of course, but he was of the sacred orders, and he was in the same position. He looked at the body, he realized that he shouldn't touch it, because then he wouldn't be able to do what he was supposed to do for the service of God. So he passed by and went down the road towards Jericho. And then, heaven help us, there came along a third person. And this person was just the scum of the earth. He was a Samaritan. And Samaritans at that time were pretty low-class people. They weren't pure blood. They weren't pure Judean. They weren't pure followers of Moses. Their line had been mixed with foreign blood. They didn't have all the same traditions and the same scriptures and the same teachings. And they couldn't be considered worthy of anything. And surely, God himself must have been disgusted with the Samaritans. What horrible people they were. We all know a lot of people like that, don't we? Who are totally worthless. And yes, this was a Samaritan. And he was coming by and he saw this body lying in the ditch. He went over. And he checked and he realized it was alive. So he bound his wounds, he cleansed them with oil. He poured in oil to help the healing, put him on his own donkey, walked as he led the donkey down to Jericho, put him up at an inn, tended and nursed him through the night. The next day he told the innkeeper, I'm going to leave him here and take care of him. And whatever it costs you, I'll pay you when I come back. And he went on his way. And our Lord looked at the lawyer after he told that story. And he said, which of these was a neighbor, real neighbor, to the wounded man? I would love to have seen the lawyer's face. He must have twitched and twiddled and no. What do I do? How am I going to answer this? Yeah, this man asks difficult questions. Guess there's only one answer. The one that was the neighbor was the one who showed compassion. Ooh. That's a difficult thing to say. A priest, a holy man, a Levite, a holy man, showed no compassion. But a Samaritan, a most unholy man, showed compassion. And our Lord says, this was the man who was the true neighbor. What about the priest? Well, we can defend him. Because the priest didn't show compassion because he had something more important to do. He had to keep the law. He had to keep the tradition. The Levite didn't show compassion because he had something more important to do. What did our Lord say? What did our Lord think? What did the light of Christ, what would the light of Christ have demanded in that situation? It would have been close to blasphemy, for the priest to touch that dead man. And or same for the Levite. And yet our Lord, who was himself a good Jew, rabbi, Orthodox Jewish, I guess, for the standards of that time. Our Lord said, in effect, the right thing to do would have been to ignore the law and show mercy, show compassion, to ignore the law. That would be a bad thing. If the law says keep yourself pure for your priestly duties, you must do that exactly. But our Lord would say, ignore the law. In this instance, show compassion, show mercy, be a neighbor. Actually, the Hebrew concept neighbor means one who belongs to your group, one who belongs to one of your countrymen. The Samaritan wasn't even a Jew. He wouldn't have been accepted. If I had been that Samaritan, I suspect I would have probably looked at the man and said, he's one of those Judeans. He doesn't like me. The heck with him. Leave him and go away. That's me. Probably all of us do. But the Samaritan didn't say that. The Samaritan paid no attention to who he was or to who the wooden man was. Instead, he showed compassion. He showed mercy. Our Lord said, in effect, ignore the law and be merciful. Never mind being conservative. Be willing to go against those things which we have been told are important, and indeed they are important. It's not that we should simply ignore all those rules and regulations and ways of behaving, ways of trying to promote piety and faithfulness. I don't like the word piety very much. Trying to promote faithfulness, not that we should ignore them, but there comes times when sometimes we must set aside the traditions, we must set aside the way in which we have been taught things have been done, and we must act out of love or mercy and compassion. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Who said that? Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Who said it? Moses? Elijah?
Jesus.
Our Lord himself. You heard those words sung a few minutes ago in the Beatitudes. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. And the Samaritan was merciful. The priest and the Levite who passed by on the other side. What would they have obtained? Would they have obtained mercy? Did they show mercy? Did they show compassion? Walk in the light of the Lord. It's a simple commandment. It's very easy to comprehend. Live in accordance with what Christ is. And if it means going against those things which we have been taught as sacred and necessary, so be it. But our Lord, if we want to sum up what our Lord did and taught, it's easy enough. We can say that Christ pointed men and women towards God. And he told them, live as I do. Live as I instruct here. And what I instruct is not that you should be goody-goodies and keepers of law and tradition, but you should follow the law of mercy and compassion. To be a Christian is not to be pious and righteous all the time. It's not to be absolutely perfect. It's not to make all the holy signs and things like that. It's not to, I don't remember where I heard this one, pray all the psalms and pray all the prayers in the Bible, sing all the psalms in the book. It's not being a Christian. It can help, yes. It can help to follow the law and the tradition. But most important, the law of Christ is the law of love, mercy, and compassion. And whatever else we may be, whatever weaknesses or shortcomings we may have, love, mercy, and the compassion will mark us as Christians, and more important, will obtain for us the grace and the love of God. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed is the Samaritan. I've often wondered if that was an actual person that maybe Christ had seen or heard of. The Samaritan who showed mercy really was one of the sons of God. The priest and the Levite who showed no compassion. What of them? We can't answer that, we don't know. All we can say is, hopefully, our Lord's mercy is strong enough that their weaknesses and their faults were forgiven. Let us therefore, as Paul says, walk in the light of the Lord. Let us be sons of compassion, mercy, and love. And if we do, I think we can be certain that one day we shall hear our Lord saying, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.